What's up everybody, it's Tim here from Everyday Tactical Vids. Thanks as always for checking out our videos. Today we're looking at the Schrade Large Full Tang Kukri. The model number for this is SCHKM1. There's also a slightly smaller version of this and we'll talk about that in a moment. Your price point for this is going to be between $30 and $40. And I'll tell you already, I have had a chance to get out into the woods and use this a bit, and I'm pretty impressed with this as a bushcraft tool. Let me start off with some of the specs. Your blade length is 13.3 inches, your handle length 6.4 inches, overall length therefore 19.7 inches, and your weight is 1.44 pounds. Let's show this to you from end to end. As you can see, it still is a little bit dirty after some of the use it's already seen. You can see Schrade etched into that portion of the blade. Here's your handle, lanyard hole, and coming back the other way. And there's your model number right there. Some other information you might want to know: it does have a black powder coated 3CR13 stainless steel blade. It has what they call a safety grip handle, and I'll talk about that in a minute. You can actually see that it is full tang because when you look in the lanyard hole down here, you can see some metal there, and I'll show you the what they call nylon shoulder / belt sheath with a removable storage pouch right now. I will tell you that the storage pouch is quite busy. There's lots of straps, lots of different ways you can attach it to different things. In a very basic way, when you want to put the blade in, you're going to unsnap this, which is going to go around your handle, and then this section, this is going to allow the blade to slide in there, and then you're going to snap this into place, and snap this into place as well. You do have this storage pouch, which you can remove on the back. You take this off, and now you can take this storage pouch off. Let me get that out of the way here and show you. In the storage pouch, it does come with a ferro rod and a sharpening stone. So these two do fit nice and securely in there. You could remove them and put something else in there if you wanted to. And the nice thing about this is if you want to use it for, a different setup, a different rig, you can just pop it off and use it, on your other rig. You don't have to use it just for this. This also does have a belt loop in here as well. And this is what the Velcro you're going to use to strap it around the back of the rest of the sheath. Looking at the back of the sheath, the first thing I'll show you is this, which is basically the strap you're going to put over your shoulder, and you've got the extra padding right here, and you can take this off. You can see you do have an option. Basically you just depress this. See if I can do it while I'm looking through the camera. Depress that section down, pop that off, and you do the same thing up on this end. A little bit tough to do while looking through the camera screen, but you can take that off, get out of the way. Now you have your sheath, and on the back you've got these straps, and you can take these off as well. They do have a QD buckle, one here and one here, and these are made to attach again to various points. This is best if you use these to attach them, around your leg once you have it actually secured to your body, so it's not, if you're walking with it hanging vertically, it's not bouncing all over the place like so. Here's what it looks like when the kukri is actually in your sheath, and I'll show you what the securing points look like there, your two snaps. And once it's actually in the sheath, there's not really much movement at all. That stays very, very firmly in place. Something I did want to note is this large finger guard here, and I found that when I do grip this, I get the palm swell in the right location, that this is nice because it's going to protect my hand from moving forward and actually getting cut on the blade. Sometimes you have, this is really small, so your finger can kind of jump as you're swinging this, something like this aggressively. With this, because of that large finger guard and the palm swell, you do have a very solid grip, even if you're using this quite aggressively to, hack down trees or cut something out there in the woods. We are going to take this out and test it in the field. I do want to let you know I already have used it in the field. I was out the other day working on a fish trap, and if you're familiar with the fish traps that you basically build off the bank of a pond or a stream, whatever it might be, and it looks kind of like an M with an opening in the middle, I use this to trim down the different pieces of wood and then to sharpen just a little bit the ends of the piece of wood to get them to be able to stick down into kind of the rock and mud that was on the edge of this pond. You can see it has been worn a little bit, and I do need to sharpen it up. I will tell you the one thing I noticed is that this palm swell, let me show you very quickly, right there. If they shrunk this a little bit, I think that would actually serve it would function a little bit better. I always, tell people I've got average sized and maybe slightly large hands, and for me, even with this one, it was a little bit uncomfortable to use it just because of where my hand fell. I'd like to have it be a little bit smaller of a palm swell, and it would be a little bit more comfortable. That said, it was still quite comfortable to use, and I could chop with this thing. This was much easier to use than the Condor Woodworker axe that I had out there, and just a lot more is easier to wield. In general, a machete, a kukri, things like that, people say that they're bushcraft tools. They are. You can certainly use them. That's how I'll be using this. But these are geared more toward a jungle setting as opposed to a northeastern woodland setting. Now that said, let's take it out into the field and actually use it for a bit. We're out here in the field now with the serrated kukri. And once again, I'll tell you that this will be a bushcraft tool for me as opposed to a primary survival tool when it comes to choosing between an axe, a saw, or something like this. This would definitely be something that I would pick third over those two, but that's because of where I live. You may be in an environment where this is better for you than those other options. So let's check it out in action. That was some pine that was actually pretty green still. So now we're gonna work on some wood that is dead, it's dry, and we'll see if we can make something a little bit sharper out of it, like if we're gonna make tent stakes, or like I shared with you earlier, the post to put in for a fish trap. Now in general, I wouldn't use a tool like this to process a large tree, whether it's one I wanted to take down or one that was already down and I wanted to cut it into pieces. An axe is much better for a process like that, but I do want to show you that you can use this tool if that's all you had and that was the situation that arose where you needed to process a large tree. This down log is about 4 inches in diameter, and we'll show you how the serrated kukri works on it. I didn't want to spend the whole day chopping that, and that's kind of boring to watch on camera. So I stopped after a little bit, but you can see I'm about a third of the way through the log. And so it does take more effort than an axe, but you definitely could use this if you had to get through a log this big or something even bigger. Let's wrap up here and give you some final thoughts on the serrated kukri. The first thing I want to remind you is that it does come in 2 different sizes. So if you're looking for this type of item and you want a larger or smaller version, you can check out serrated to see which one of those might fit your needs better. The second thing I'll say is you can tell by the way that the blade is shaped, it's going to be very good for cutting things that are hanging like vines or rope, other items like that. The bend like that actually is good because it draws the item into it as it's cutting. Now, this is great in a jungle situation to be cutting through undergrowth and brush, things like that. Here in New England, that type of growth is just coming up because we're getting into the spring now, and so I don't have a lot of it around to actually cut, so I couldn't show you that. The third thing I'll say is that because it's not an axe or a saw, and I live in New England, this would be like a third choice for me when it came to your bushcraft items. I would definitely take an axe or a saw first, but I did find this really useful if you have room in your pack or room in your bushcraft setup to get out there in the woods and carry a bunch of different items. This could be really good. I did, again, find this easier to process things with than a larger axe that you would use for splitting, and you're certainly not going to be making tent stakes or something sharpened like that with a saw. So this could be a really good option when it comes to a bushcraft type item or a bushcraft type tool that you have out there in your setup. I do like the fact that it comes with that sheath, so you can wear it across your chest so it's on your back. You can wear it on a belt so it's running down your leg and still secured with those extra straps. They do give you a lot of options when it comes to how you want to set it up and carry it. And I do like you get a ferro rod and you get the sharpener with it. That's definitely a plus. The palm swell is the one thing that I would say if they could just shrink that a tiny bit, that would make me a little bit more comfortable when I'm using it. But again, that's a preference thing. Overall, pretty impressed with this, and I like it as a bushcraft tool, just something I can use out there in a variety of different applications when I'm out in the woods. So check it out, it's the Schrade Kukri. As always, thank you for watching our videos here on YouTube. Please subscribe to Everyday Tactical Vids here on YouTube. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and check us out on Tumblr. Take care.